You guys know that Stephen A. Smith meme where he says, you know, very bad day, pain, and it's black and white and all that. That's how I feel. When you look at the Seahawks season at 8-8 right now, this was the most painful of all the losses this team has suffered this year. Because, let's face it, this was very winnable for the Seahawks. They had every opportunity to get the job done. They were the better team. They were at home. They had momentum, 2-game winning streak and all. And just let this one slide away. This was a sad, disappointing day for your Seattle Seahawks. They fall the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-23. And the Steelers did so with a third-string quarterback, Mason Rudolph, who played solid, 18-24, 274 yards. But the difference in this football game was the way the Steelers ran the football. They had a grand total of 202 yards on the ground against the Seahawks defense. What did we talk about? All offseason and into training camp leading up this season, we said the Seahawks had to improve the run defense, that the run defense was mediocre. That was the biggest issue with this Seahawks team. And you added Draymond Jones, you added Leonard Williams, you made some changes to try to fix the run defense, Bobby Wagner and everything here. But I sit here today on the final day of 2023, and I say to myself, this isn't working. This isn't any better in the run defense. And that comes down to coaching. Clint Hurt, Pete Carroll, they have failed this team. They have failed you, the fans. You deserve better than the product that we saw on the field today. This is an embarrassment. And there needs to be changes. There needs to be hell to pay because what happened today comes down to coaching. The Seahawks had every chance to win this game. Geno played good enough. Run game was not great. DK, nice day. 5 catches, 106 yards. Hit by prize pick. More on that later. Comes down to coaching. This was all about coaching. Injury news for Seattle. Not only did you lose, you got banged up a bit. Kenneth Walker with a shoulder. Abe Lucas with a knee. Evan Brown with a concussion. Artie Burns with a knee. You were already shorthanded at the corner position. Now you got more injuries adding up. And we've seen what this Seahawks team looks like without Abraham Lucas a part of the equation, as he missed most of the first half of this year and how much the offensive line struggled. Oh, boy. And, by the way, next week when you face Arizona with your last chance to make the postseason, that's not a given. Cardinals beat the Eagles today, folks. Yeah, Kyler Murray looked great. So, all of a sudden, heading into next week, I'm in panic mode. I'm nervous as hell. I want to get to the playoffs. I want to compete for a Super Bowl title. I at least want a shot. This team's not making it easy for that to happen. I can tell you that much. What's your one-word reaction to the Seahawks loss to the Steelers? Smitty put up a good graphic here. New Year's nightmare. Nightmare's a good word. Can I go like acronym here? Can I go WTF? Like, it shouldn't have happened. This was a terrible way to end the year. And 2023 was a good year for yours truly. I enjoyed myself, but this was not the way I envisioned the year ending. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Folks, thanks for joining us here at Seahawks Today. We still have more to come. We're not going anywhere. But I want to make sure you subscribe to the channel. We passed 47,000 subscribers. Big deal. But this wasn't our only watch party of the weekend. We had a good time on Sunday. We're going to live Monday night for Washington and Texas, the All-State Sugar Bowl, the college football playoff semifinal. You will not want to miss it. Subscribe now for all the coverage on your Seattle Seahawks. Don't miss out. Washington, Texas, live on the channel. Subscribe now for free. We'll see you then. All right, let's go over some numbers for you. Let's start with Geno Smith, 23 of 33, 290 yards, a touchdown. A lot of people are going to point to the possession towards the end of the game where it was the strip sack fumble. That was actually on Charles Cross. Charles Cross, who the Seahawks spent a high draft pick on, who they are paying a decent amount of money as a rookie and everything to. Supposed to be their franchise left tackle. That's on him. It's not on Geno for giving up that blindside forced fumble at the end of the game there. he was disappointed by his offensive line. The O-line didn't do its job in that scenario. I was fine with what Geno had played. Geno was good enough to win this football game. That's all you can ask for is Geno being good enough. And simply the guys around him, the offensive line in particular, was not good enough. Only sacked one time today. QB rating 106.9. And, I mean, think about this. What's been the biggest complaint about the Seahawks passing game over the last 5+ years? It's been the lack of getting tight ends involved. Noah Fant had 5 catches, 59 yards today. He woke up, finally came to life. Charbonnet was solid in the backfield, 5 catches, 39 yards. DK with a big day. I would have liked to see more from JSN and Tyler Lockett. Lockett was kind of MIA for the most part. Bobo had that 1 catch, but that was it. I was disappointed in those guys not getting it done, but it was at least somewhat pleasing to see none other than Noah Fant getting the mix. Kenneth Walker, we mentioned, left the game with an injury. He had 10 carries, 53 yards, touchdown run. Charbonnet's impact was really in the receiving game. He didn't do much on the ground. 2 carries for 2 yards on the day. But what did we tell you in our pregame video earlier this week? The statistic going into this one was that the Seahawks, every game this season where they've rushed for 100 yards or more, they've won. Simple as that. You rush for 100 yards, you win. And that's the best of any team in the NFL. You know what they ended up with today? 88 yards. Didn't get to 100. They lost. No coincidence. Got to establish the run. It's so ironic. Really, it's moronic of this Seahawks team that sits here and tells us, Pete Carroll and Shane Waldron, week in and week out, you know, the identity of the Seahawks, we want to be a run-first football team. We want to run the football to open up the passing game. And time again, you know what happens? That never happens with this Seahawks team. They never establish the run to open up the passing game. And it's infuriating because it's real simple when you look at the statistics. You run the ball, you win. Run the ball, please. Who was Seattle's MVP against the Steelers? I guess I'd go DK. I guess. How about Devin Bush? 17 tackles. Who would have thought? Chime in the comment section. Give me your MVP for this game against the Steelers here. Now, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks, proud partner of Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Prize Picks, real simple how it works. Choose 2 or more players, any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, passing yards, receiving yards, completions, and more. Prize Picks is the place to go. I got to tell you, we did pretty good on Prize Picks today. We hit on DK. I said he'd have more than 58.5 receiving yards, and he killed that. He had 106. Now we need Michael Penix to come up big tomorrow night with more than 2.5 touchdowns. And I'll be honest, if Washington's going to beat Texas, he's got to have more than 2.5 touchdowns. So play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Now the numbers. Let's go over these. 468 yards allowed. Wolf. Steelers were a balanced attack. 266 through the air, 202 yards on the ground. And how about that right there? No turnovers. And the time of possession. Smitty and I were talking about this as the game was going along. The Steelers had no sense of urgency to move the football. Like, they were methodical. They took their time. I mean, they did what they wanted. And it was so frustrating to watch because you're like, my Lord, can we get the football back, please? I mean, they played keep away. You guys remember that game, keep away, growing up. That's what the Steelers did today. Najee Harris, who's not that good. If we're going to be frank, Najee is not that good. Rushed for 122 yards today. 4.5 yards a carry. How does that happen? Jaylen Warren. I actually like Jaylen Warren, though. Former UDFA out of Oklahoma State. Had nearly 6 yards a carry today. My goodness. 202 yards, 3 touchdowns. Steelers' run game couldn't be stopped. I'll tell you what. I'm glad that we don't have to face the Steelers in the AFC right now because they're getting hot at the right time. Seahawks stats. 369, 281 through the air. The run game, got to get over 100. Didn't do it today. And he had that costly turnover. You didn't win the turnover battle. And then that number there, as I point to it. 22 minutes, 27 seconds. Got to give your offense a chance. You at least got to be on the field, try to get some points. And that wasn't the case. Seahawks fall. Playoff chances, going to be tougher to get in now. You've made things a lot harder on yourselves, and you need some help. How do you feel about Seahawks playoff chances? 1 through 10. I don't feel great. I give about a 5. I'm not so confident about next week all of a sudden after the Cardinals beat the Eagles. For crying out loud. Scale it for me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we get a win for Washington, that they salvage the season. Washington versus Texas, live here on Seahawks Today tomorrow night. We will see you then, right here on the channel. All-State Sugar Bowl, college football playoff semifinal, spot in the playoff on the line. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us.